Now we're going to look at proving if something is a right triangle or not. To do this, we use a squared plus b squared equals c squared, which is Pythagorean theorem, which is used to find if something is a right triangle. If you need more instruction on this, see my video on when to use Pythagorean theorem. Okay, so basically, when we look at this Pythagorean theorem, if you don't remember from the other video, C is always your longest side. When they give you all three sides, C will always be the longest side. So in this problem, 9 being our largest number, 6, 8, and 9, so 9 will be C. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in there. Okay. And at this point, it also doesn't matter which one is A or B as long as we have C in the correct spot. So 6 can be A or B. So let me go ahead and put these in. Now, if you'll notice, I've made a mistake that a lot of my students will make, and they will forget to square the numbers. It says a squared plus b squared equals c squared, so we need to go ahead and square those numbers. Okay. And squaring means to multiply a number by itself. So 6 squared is actually 6 times 6, which is 36. 8 squared, which is 8 times 8, 64. And 9 squared is 9 times 9, which is 81. Okay. Now when you look at this, this is just that we're trying to see if both of these, if this equals. So when we look at it, it says 36 plus 64 equals 81. Well, let's go ahead and add 36 plus 64 to see what that equals. It equals 100. Okay. Which means it does not equal 81. And because it's not equal, I'm going to go ahead and put a slash sign through my equal, showing that it is not equal. If it is not equal, then it is not a right triangle. Now let's go ahead and look at another one. I want to know if this is a right triangle. Well, we go ahead and plug in the numbers. Again, we always put the largest number if we're given all three sides in as C, and the other two are interchangeable. So this time I'm going to go ahead and write it in. 5 squared plus 12 squared equals 13 squared. Okay. Because these are taking the place of A, B, and C, but we are still squaring A, B, and C. So we don't want to forget that. Okay, 5 squared is 25. Because that's 5 times 5. 12 squared is 12 times 12, 144. And 13 squared is 13 times 13, 169. Let's go ahead and see. It says 25. I'm looking at this going, I can do the math here. I don't have to get rid of anything. 25 plus 144 equals 169. And as we saw earlier, 13 times 13 was 169. So this side is also 169. So we see that a squared plus b squared does equal c squared in this instance. I'm going to put a check mark above it this time. That's just for me. That means it is a right triangle. If both sides are equal, then it is right. So if it's not equal, not a right triangle. If it is equal, it is a right triangle. Make sure you're always, if you're given all three sides, make sure that the longest side is C. Down below, I wanted to just quickly show a problem that might use this. They say, which set of numbers forms a right triangle? And some people get thrown off when they see decimals. So I went ahead and worked this one out already. This one has a couple of decimals in it. And I just plugged it in. And a lot of you might think that 3.2 squared is 9.4. It kind of makes sense, but if you actually punch it in and work it out, it actually comes out to 10.56. So that's where I got that from. 7 squared is 49. 8 squared is 64, and then as you can see, after I've gone ahead and added, they don't equal, which means it's not. So if you want to go ahead and pause the video and see if you can find the correct one, be my guest. I went ahead and just worked out the one that I knew was already the correct answer, which was the 6, 8, and 10. Now I went ahead and just put them in. As I said, 6 and 8 you can make as A or B because it doesn't matter. They're not the longest side. We always just have to make sure that the longest side goes in for C. So in this case, I have 10 being C, and I go ahead and work out the math, and I see that both sides do equal, which means that A squared plus B squared does equal c squared. Hope this helps.